Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to your communication skills class. Today we are back again with another exciting episode of communication skills class, in which we are going to thoroughly talk about another language skill, that is reading skill. That is almost 28% of what we talk daily, what we communicate and how we communicate daily. Before we actually begin with our lecture number 10, that is about reading skills, that is of week 5, let's quickly recap what we have done in our previous lecture. In our previous lecture, we have done some kinds of the activities that I hope that would have helped you see and improve your listening skills. And after we are done with our listening skills activities, I hope that you must have tried on listenandwrite.com, and you must have tried on another web link that I have posted in, and I hope that you have done your quiz as well. Today, as we are going to do our reading skill, before we actually before we actually solve our reading practices, it is really important that you understand what reading is. So the word reading basically, or this skill of reading basically has something to do with receiving something, as listening skills was also our receptive skill. Reading also is one of our receptive skill in which we keep on receiving the information from our potential audiences. So whatsoever information they have written down on the piece of paper, either that's going to be a piece of paper that we are reading, or that's going to be a book that we are reading, or we are reading from the text message. Every material that we are reading, we are actually familiar with the those written words which are there. So every word or every letter of the word, it possesses a sound. So once we are reading from any newspaper, any book, those visible symbols and those visible signs on the piece of paper which carry one sound are transformed into our mind, and then our thinking, it develops to think that how we are going to convert those sounds into words, and then how are we going to interpret those words, and then create their meanings into our mind on our own. So this is what we call reading skill, and this is what we call the reading skill process. So before we actually begin and before we actually practice reading skills, it is really important that we see and we observe that what is reading. So basically the reading process, or reading, is the combination of the text. It involves the text and it involves the reader. Of course, if you are crossing any road, or if you are just passing by the street and you see something written on the wall, and you see something written on the billboard, or your text message, it arrives and you are reading it. So what actually happens? It's between you and the material that you are reading. Now that material is known as your text that you are reading. Either that can be a word that you are reading, or that can be a whole phrase, it can be a clause, or it can be a sentence, or it can be a longer paragraph that you are reading from. So basically the reading involves, first of all, the reader and the text. So once you are going to have a text, of course you are going to read it. Now we are going to see that how different strategies are applied for reading. Sometimes once, or if we are just going through the news channel, there are different ways of, there are different strategies of reading. Sometimes you read from slides, sometimes you read pictures, sometimes you read, you read these marks in the end, like these kind of strips which are running in the news channels. You keep on reading, and you keep on applying different strategies of reading to them. Now different people, they have got different strategies. That one we are also going to discuss today. Now reading also involves fluency. The fluent you are going to be, or the fluent your reading is going to be, of course, the more active your reading is going to become. 150 words per minute, 200 words per minute, 250 words per minute, or 300 words per minute. So this is how you keep on increasing your reading rate, by developing the fluency in it. And how do you develop this fluency? By keep on practicing different sounds again and again and again. So the more you are going to get familiar with the sounds and different alphabets and different signs, the more you would become fluent in your reading. The fluent you will be, the accurate you would automatically become in your speaking. So this is what has something to do with, this is what, as we said, that the more carefully you would listen, the more good you can speak. So same goes with reading. The more fluently you can read, the more accurately you can speak. So this is how your receptive skill has or is combined with your one of your productive skill, that you are supposed to see that how all of these things, they are interconnected and interrelated to each other. So basically reading involves the text first of all, then the reader, then there are different strategies being applied on reading, and then we also check for the reading fluency. Now moving on to the next slide, there is strategic and there is one fluent reading. Now, as I said, that there are different strategies being applied on reading, and then there is one fluent reading, fluency and strategy which needs a description and which need to be defined as well. Strategic reading, first of all, is this an ability of reader to use a wide variety of reading strategies to accomplish a purpose of reading. Now, there are different purposes of reading, as you know, reading for entertainment, reading for pleasure, reading for taking out the main idea, reading for taking out the gist, reading for comprehension, and there are so many other ways and purposes of reading. Strategic reading is an ability of reading to use a wide variety of reading strategies to accomplish a purpose of reading. So this is what you are supposed to do. The second variety of reading is fluent reading, which is somewhat also related to your strategic reading, which is an ability to read at an appropriate rate with adequate comprehension. So fluency doesn't mean that you are reading and you are not actually understanding anything. It means that you're reading at appropriate rate, in that very much rate in which is also helping you understand and comprehend whatever you are reading. So strategic reading and fluent reading, both of them, what exactly is common in between two of them is that you comprehend things. However, in strategic reading, you apply different kind of strategies to achieve the purpose of reading, and however, in fluent reading, you keep on reading with fluency. Like there are readers who are really fond of reading novels. So once you have developed this habit of reading novels, now you are reading with the fluency. You are reading out a story. You are reading that with the fluency without stopping anywhere. But at the same time, you are understanding what's going on in the story. So this is what you call strategic reading, and this is what you call fluent reading. Now, there are different processes of reading and there are different approaches that we would come across and we would see that are really very important to understand because reading doesn't happen in isolation. You have to see the involvement of the whole linguistic structure that we have discussed thoroughly in our first class. The first approach is known as bottom-up approach. Now, this bottom-up approach basically moves from the bottom to the top. Now, your top is your comprehension, and the bottom core is the fundamental basis of sound and word recognition. Now, if you remember the language structure or the linguistic structure that we have done in our very first lecture, which basically starts with phoneme, then it moves on to morpheme, then it moves on to word, then words, they combine together to give you phrases and clauses, then these phrases and clauses, they combine together to give you sentences, and sentences, they combine together to give you longer texts, paragraphs. So this is what is the language division. Now it says that bottom-up approach basically starts from this recognition of the smallest sound unit, that is phoneme, and then relating each and every sound to a specific sign or symbol that is attached to it. Now if you have this understanding or this word recognition, the recognition of the sounds, phonemes, and then the recognition of morpheme. So if you understand these phonemes, these morphemes, and and these words, automatically once you are going to develop the understanding of them, you would achieve your comprehension. You know the meaning of all the words, and then the words, they combine together to give you longer sentences. Once you know the meaning of the words, of course they are going to help you know and learn the meaning of the longer sentences. And once you are going to learn the meaning of the longer sentences, of course then you can understand that what the next person is or has written, and then you can comprehend it. Now this comprehension has something to do with comprehending the intent, or sometimes comprehending the intent, and then there is content. Now there are two categories. Intent is the intention of the writer, the one who had been writing down something to inform you something. So you read the intention of the person, and then sometimes you read the content, the whole content of the paragraph, and then you try to comprehend it. So this is what you call bottom approach, where you have all the bottom line knowledge of recognizing the sounds, the words, the morphemes, the phonemes, and then you jot down all those words to build the comprehension of what you call the whole text or the paragraph. There is another approach, the second approach, which is known as the top-down approach, which is also really very important once you talk about the reading process. Basically, as the top-down, the bottom-up approach has all the basic and the fundamentals which sit there in the bottom line, which appear on the top to give you the comprehension. Now, this top-down approach has something to do with that your reading basically begins with the reader's background knowledge, and basically it carries the reader's background scenario or background education from where all the knowledge is coming from. Then basically once you have this all top knowledge, you keep on moving down, and then you predict the topic and you confirm or reject the confirm of whatsoever has been written down on the piece of paper. So that you have written based on your background knowledge that you have your own understanding of something. Now you are sitting there on the top. This is your top understanding, because you have this understanding of something that lies there in your mind, right? Now this has developed because you have the background knowledge of it. You have learned something, so this is there in your mind. This is your top, and you move down because once you confirm or once you reject to whatsoever has been proposed to you, according to your understanding and according to your background knowledge, you either confirm to that or you reject to that. So in other words, you are moving from top to down because your understanding allows you to see that this thing is right or wrong. So either you are going to accept it or you are going to reject it. You are going to confirm it or you are going to disconfirm it. So this is the basic difference between the top-down and bottom-up approaches. Both of them, they are basically the kinds of the reading, or they are basically the approaches of the reading process, which basically are involved there. You read from the newspaper. Now what exactly you are doing? What do the kids do? They read from the book based on all the knowledge that they have of the bottom knowledge of word recognition, and then they jot down the words to speak them out. So this is how they are reading from the book or reading from the newspaper. However, once they will grow up and they will develop the understanding of different scenarios and they would have learned different theories, different practices, they would keep on transforming those theories to and they would bring them down to either to reject them and to confirm to them. So this is what how do you define a top-down and bottom-up approach. There is one third approach of reading process that is known as interactive approach, in which basically readers' background knowledge and individual letter and sounds, they are very essential and they are very important to achieve the comprehension of anything. So it also involves that how you are looking at something, how do you recognize different words, how do you recognize different sounds, and then it also involves readers' background knowledge to achieve the level of comprehension. So this comprehension, to achieve that comprehension level, sometimes you apply different strategies, and you also apply different kinds of techniques in listening. So this is the third type of listening process, third type of reading process, that is known as interactive approach. So far we have discussed three basic approaches of reading or to reading. The first one was bottom up, in which you use all your basic fundamental knowledge of sounds and units to achieve the comprehension level. The second one was top down, where you use your background knowledge and your background information to achieve this, or to accept or reject something. And then third approach, that is interactive approach, in which you have your background knowledge as well as the knowledge of the basic knowledge of fundamentals to achieve the comprehension, that is, comprehending for intent or sometimes the content. So this is what you call interactive approach. So these were the three approaches of communication, and these were the three approaches of reading, which are really very important while you want to achieve something and while you want to comprehend something. So you are expected to do much more reading at university than at school or college level. It's not called reading for a degree for nothing. Reading basically has something to do with once you are reading on the university level, you are not really reading for the degree. It's nothing. You are supposed to read everything out that is available to you to enhance sometimes your understanding, sometimes to see a broader picture or to see things on a broader scale. So this is what is expected from you to do a lot of reading. And how to do a lot of reading and how to actually improve your reading without wasting time. Now you cannot, or we cannot expect from you that you are going to start from book number 1 to book number 10 and you would read from page to page to page to page, and then you would comprehend and understand everything. Now this is not possible, and this is humanly not possible that is going to happen. Basically what means or what is meant by it is that you learn different strategies to comprehend from book 1 to book 10. Now you have not gone through each and every book wholly solely, but in other words it means that you understand that what is written in book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is what is exactly expected from you, and this is what is going to be our target of today's lecture, to make you understand that how you can read for different purposes. Now moving on to the next slide, there are 5 tips to improve your reading. Now that you have understood that what exactly is reading and what exactly it involves. So basically reading involves this reader and the text, fluency and strategies. So there are 5 basic things to improve your reading. First of all we would discuss different styles of reading. Then we would discuss active reading. Then we would discuss a tip for speeding up your active reading, and then previewing. So all of these tips are going to basically help you see that how you can improve your reading. And there is another fifth one that is missed out here. That one I will tell you in the end. Now first of all, let's discuss different styles of reading. The first thing, or the first style of reading, is scanning. Now basically once you are scanning something, what exactly it means that you are scanning the skeleton of the whole thing, or you are scanning the thing as it is. So scanned means that you are, or scanning reading or reading for scanning basically means that reading for the specific focus. So once you are scanning something into a scanner machine, the paper is specified, or paper is focused, or the area is focused that you want to scan. Same goes with the scanning reading. You are reading for the specific idea, or you have one specific focus. Now for example, looking up a name in the phone book. Now you have this phone book with you. Now you are supposed to find out the name in the phone book. Now this is your focused reading, that you are reading from leaf to leaf. You are not exactly reading it out, but you are basically focused on finding something, one particular name name in that phone book. So this is what you call scanning. It's useful to scan part of text to see if they are going to be useful to you. Like for example, you are reading to make an assignment, and now you are reading from different books and from different texts, and you are trying to see that which paragraph could be more relevant and could be more useful to develop your listening, to develop your reading. So sometimes the introduction or the preface of a book can be of one very good idea to read, and to see and to find out that if this book is going to be helpful to you for making down an assignment. The first and the last paragraphs of the chapters also can be read for scanning purpose to see if this chapter is relevant to your assignment or your course. Then the concluding chapter of a book can also be scanned for seeing that how you can put that into your assignment. So the first style of reading is known as scanning that you have read so far, which is really very important, and I have given you some of the examples for it too, and I hope that these examples are useful to you and you are going to learn something out of it. Now there are some examples of scanning. The words on TV selection of your newspaper, like for example you want to see what is on TV today, so you pick up the newspaper, you search for the column for what's on TV today, and you scan it. Now you are scanning that particular column because you were specified, and that was focused. So you have one focused that basically was to see that what's on TV today. A train or airplane schedule, somebody is coming coming back to the country and you have gone to visit them, or you are looking for the flight numbers and you are looking for the flight arrivals. So this train or aeroplane schedule can also be focused kind of reading. A conference guide, you want to attend any conference and you buy and you purchase the conference booklet or the conference guide to see that how many speakers are coming there and if you must participate in the conference or not. So these are some examples of scanning that can be of great help if you want to scan out something. The second style of reading is known as skimming. Skimming is basically, skimming basically means that you are looking for the main idea or the main purpose. So once you are doing this skimming reading, it means that you are reading for getting the gist of something. You're getting the main idea. Now, for example, going through a newspaper or a magazine, you read quickly to get the main points and skip over the details. Sometimes you only read from the headings. Now, these major headings are really important in the newspaper, or they sometimes become really very important in the newspaper, so that you don't have to, go through from line to line and then to see the further details, because sometimes you are out of time and you are in a hurry and you cannot read the whole details. So this is what you call skimming. You are basically looking for the gist. To preview a passage before you read it in detail, so this preview of the whole passage, like for example you must have seen that in newspaper columns there is one box that indicates that what this whole conversation is about. So you read from that very material to see the gist of the whole story. Then to refresh your understanding of passage after you have read it in detail, like for example you have read the whole chapter in detail for the preparation of your exam, but early in the morning you are skimming through everything. You are skimming through the whole book by just looking at the headings and just looking at the main idea to find out that the gist of the whole story. Use skimming when you are trying to decide if a book in the library of bookshop is right for you. So sometimes you are being or you want to purchase any book or any kind of booklet that you would find is relevant for you or not. To do so, you skim through different books, which one is relevant and that which one really you want to purchase. You are fond of reading novels and reading different dramas. You go to the bookshop and you skim through different novels and you just read the preface at the back, and sometimes you read the description of the novel in the beginning to see that if that interests you. So that thing really is your reading for the gist of something, or skimming for skimming through the books. There are some examples of skimming, like for example the newspaper, quickly to get the general news of the day. So you keep on reading the headings in the newspaper to get the general news of the day. Magazines, quickly to discover which articles you would like to read in more detail. So sometimes you are waiting in a lobby to see your doctor, or sometimes you are waiting in a lobby to see someone. Maybe you have gone to visit someone. So you pick up any magazine, or you just start skimming through pages to find out that which is the thing that appeals to you more, and which is the thing that you want to read in more detail. Then business and travel brochures. So these kind of brochures can also be skimmed for getting the information, because they are quick to read and they are quick to get informed. So these are some of the examples of skimming, and previously we have also discussed some of the examples of scanning. Now the third kind of reading is known as detailed reading, that is for extracting information accurately. So you are reading or you are extracting from the text to get the complete information completely. Now you are reading from every word, every single word to learn from the text. In this careful reading, you may find it helpful to skim first to get a general idea, but then go back to read in detail. Sometimes you are supposed to use a dictionary to make sure that you understand all the words that are being used. So there are different ways of reading in detail, or for the detailed reading, in which you are supposed to see each and everything, to see each and every minute detail. Sometimes you are supposed to read and then reread different sentences to find out the accurate meaning of the whole sentence. So basically detailed reading has something to do with getting the accurate understanding or accurate description of things thoroughly. Now for enhancing your reading, and there is a tip for improving your reading, that is known as active reading. And for making your reading active, there are some ideas being proposed as well. The first thing that you can do for making your reading active is underlining and highlighting. Now sometimes you either underline things, or sometimes you keep on highlighting them, so that later on, once you are going to open up the book, or once you are going to open the book, you would only read those underlined words or those highlighted words which are there. So this is going to be one main or one basic idea of enhancing reading or making you the active reader. Note keywords, like for example you are reading the whole paragraph and then you assign one title, or then you assign one particular word to the whole paragraph. So this is what you call noting down the keywords in the whole paragraph. Questions, sometimes you create questions if in the whole paragraph something has been defined, so you just simply name, or you simply write on the question on the top that how do you define so and so thing. So if the paragraph is going to be about animals, so you write down that what is an animal. So that is a question and there is a whole answer to it. So asking questions or writing down the question also help you read from the text thoroughly. Summaries, sometimes you make the summary, that is, these are the words, the collection of the words which is going to help you wrap up the whole thought, or getting the gist of the whole information. So this is how you can improve your reading, and this is how you can become one good active reader. Now there is another tip that I told was a hidden tip for you for speeding up your active reading, which is known as SQ3R technique. Now if you want to basically improve your reading, and if you really want to become an active reader, it is a very good idea that you first of all do the survey. Now this survey is going to help you see if you have been assigned one topic to write on, or maybe to search on. What would you do? You would go to the library, you would do the proper survey. Maybe you are surfing on internet, there you are also doing the survey, looking for the relevant material, and sometimes reading in the detail if you have found the relevant material. Sometimes you are skimming, sometimes you are scanning. So this is going to help you, find out the correct information that is required for making down the assignment. Then asking questions, as I said, that asking questions is going to also help you see that if you are enhancing your reading, or if you are involved in the active reading process. You read, then you recall, and then you review. So once you have collected all the material and once you have answered and satisfied all the questions which were there in your mind, you read the material that you have made, you recall the information that you have gathered and that you have collected to make down or to write down that very piece of paper, and then to review means that you are giving it a review, that if the information that you have written is going to help you or is useful for the display or is good enough for the display. So this is how you can improve and speed up your reading. First of all, by doing the survey in which the skimming and scanning would be involved, by asking questions, the sincere questions, not the irrelevant ones. Then you would read, that is going to help you develop your fluent reading. You would recall, that is also remembering and then reading at the same time, looking for the scanning and skimming techniques also, and then reviewing the whole, it means that you are doing the detailed reading. Now another another tip for enhancing your reading is previewing. Previewing a text means gathering as much information about the text as you can before you actually read it. You can ask yourself the following questions. Previewing basically has something to do with, or as the definition itself indicates, like gathering as much information as you can about the text as you can before you actually read it. So once you are being asked to debate on something, or once you are being asked to write on something, what do? You keep on reading from different materials. You keep on gathering the information from different materials to see that how you can actually deliver or actually write down the information on the piece of paper. So for previewing, you are supposed to question yourself a few things. The first question is what is my purpose of reading? So to enhance you can ask yourself that what basically is the purpose of your reading. So if you are going to ask the purpose, it is also going to help you find out the relevant reading. What can the title tell me about the text? So title is another thing that is also going to be useful in providing the relevant information or relevant sources to your audiences. Then who is the author? That is the third thing that you would come across. About the author, if you know about the author, that is going to help you see that how you can preview something. So if you know about the author, that if that's Allama Iqbal or if that's any other author that you know of, so you know that what kind of the material they write about and how they write about. So this is going to be very helpful in reading out any material that this writer writes about this stuff. So they are important in finding out that what exactly is happening and how is the text structured. So if you know about the style of writing of someone, any author, any particular author, you know that what would be the how would be the text structured and how it would be developed, and how the writer would develop the plot and the story of the whole novel or drama. So this is how you can apply the technique of previewing. Now sometimes you also read for the main idea. That is also really very important to understand. There are some reading tips for reading for the main idea, and let's try to read them, and let's try to discuss them one by one, because reading for the main idea is really very important. Basically in your language class, in your reading class, our main purpose is to improve your comprehension skills, and for comprehension you are supposed to understand what is the main idea being presented in the whole paragraph, and to see that what is the main idea, there are some reading tips. Now the first one says, as soon as you can define the topic as yourself, what general points does the author want to make about this topic? So you are basically looking for the general point that the author wants to make about the whole topic that he is writing down on the piece of paper. Then you are supposed to see that mostly main ideas are stated or suggested early on in any reading. Pay special attention to the first third of any passage, article or the chapter. So for reading, make sure that you are going to basically the ideas that writers basically want to convey or present in their writings is that they want to present or they usually present their ideas in the first third of the whole conversation. So the best idea to do is that and the thing that you can do is to pay special attention to the first third portion, that is in the last half of your first paragraph, where you would find the main idea. Pay attention to any idea that is repeated in different ways. So there are different ways, and writers, they keep on repeating the idea, so you can look for those ideas which are repeated in different ways. Once you feel sure you have found the main idea, test it. So testing is also very important. Now, how you can test it? Try to see that if you find that idea somewhere else, if that idea is being repeated in the first paragraph, third paragraph, in the first third paragraph, and so on and so forth. The main idea of passage can be expressed in any number of ways. For example, you and your roommate might come up with the same main idea for reading, but the language in which that idea is expressed would probably be different. So there can be a number of ways of explaining one thing in different or from different perspectives or from different angles, which is important to understand, and which you can also see that how one sitting in one situation, how two different people would define one idea differently. Now, if you are taking a test that asks you to find the thesis or theme of a reading, don't let the terms confuse you. You are still looking for the main idea. So you are not going to let the different terms confuse you. That has something to do with the connotative meaning. Connotative meanings of the words, the underlying meanings of the words. You are going to see the terms carefully, so that you are not going to confuse yourself and drag yourself from the main idea of the whole conversation. Now that you are done with writing down the with learning down all the specific tips for reading down any material, reading for the main idea, reading for the detailed reading, scanning, skimming, SQ3R techniques, and so on, previewing, and so on and so forth. So now let's solve exercise number 1, that has something to do with reading. Now that you are supposed to read the passage, then note the letter of the statement that effectively sums up the main idea. Now that as I told you that you are basically reading for and our main purpose is to make you good comprehensible readers. So the first activity that we are going to do is to read up for the main idea. Now I would show you the paragraph of which you are going to look for the main idea. Now here you go, the paragraph is written right in front of you, and we are supposed to see, and we are supposed to find out the main idea of the whole paragraph. I would read it out for you, and you are supposed to hold your pens and copies in your hand. Keep noting down the important words. Try to also see that how one idea is being repeated in different from different perspectives or in different ways, in a number of ways, and try to see that what exactly is the main idea of this whole paragraph. Alright, a number of recent books with titles like Raising Cain, Real Boys, and Lost Boys all focus on the same issue. Today's teen-aged boys are feeling more anxiety than ever before about their physical appearance. So, let's underline the important things. Today's teen-aged boys are feeling anxiety more than before because of their physical appearance. So the writer basically is trying to present the idea about the teenage boys being so noxious about their physical appearance as compared to those who had been previously. Bombarded by advertising features, well-muscled, semi-clad young men, teenage boys are experiencing what teenage girls have been coping with for years. They are afraid that they cannot possibly live up with the media's idealized image of their gender. So, what basically they have this anxiety that they cannot possibly live up to the media's idealized image of their own gender. Young boys below the average in height, weight, or both suffer the most. So, they are basically noxious about their height and weight. Often they are brutally teased by their browner peers. Some react to the ridicule by heading for the gym and lifting weights. Yet even those who successfully bulk up don't like feeling that they are considered worthless if they lose their hard-won muscle tone. Others convinced that no amount of bodybuilding can help, often withdraw from social contact with their peers. So sometimes if they find that this bodybuilding is not even going to help them polish and make them well muscled or semi-clad young man, sometimes they leave this social contact with their peers also. This is their way of avoiding taunts about their size or shape. Still, they are understandably angry at being badly treated because of their body type. Although school psychologists generally recognize that boys today are having severe body image problems, they are at a loss about what to do to solve those problems. So we have read the whole paragraph and we had been trying to comprehend it well, and we have also underlined some of the important things which we found are necessary to find out the main idea. So if we try to rewrite the whole paragraph into our own words, and if we have tried to capture the main idea of the whole paragraph, it's about the teenage boys who are basically feeling this anxiety because of their physical appearance, since they believe that they are not better than those who were in the past life. That involves their height, weight, and then the image that has been portrayed by media. Now let's see that how exactly you are supposed to write it. Now more than in previous generations, teenage boys are getting into bodybuilding. This can be one way of writing it down. Teenage boys today are showing more anxiety about their physical appearance than did boys of the previous generations. So we have also underlined the idea number 2, and the right way of writing was also presented in idea number A. So this is how you take out the main idea. So the whole paragraph was basically about the boys who are basically feeling or who have basically developed this feeling of anxiety because of their physical appearance. Now here is another exercise for you. What you are supposed to do is to read from the whole paragraph and then find out the main idea again. In 1997, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission reported that skateboarding injuries were up by 33%. Mountain climbing injuries were also up by 20%. Similarly, snowboarding injuries show an increase of 31%. By all accounts, many Americans are having a love affair with the risky sports. As a result, they are injuring themselves in even greater number. So the main idea what they shown through the example is that Americans are having a love affair with risky sports, or they are really fond of risky sports. As a result, they are injuring themselves in even greater numbers. One reason for growing participation in risky or extreme sports has been put forth by Dan Carey, a professor of popular culture at California State University. According to Carey, previous generations did not need to seek out risk. It was all around them in the form of a disease, epidemics, economic instability, and global wars. At one time, just managing to stay alive was risky, but that feeling has all but disappeared, at least for members for privileged classes. To a degree, Carey's theory is confirmed in the words of adventure racer Joy Marr. Marr says that risk has been minimized in everyday life, forcing people to seek out challenges in order to prove themselves. So here is a source written at the end. So that was the whole paragraph about. We have underlined that Americans basically they are involving themselves into the love affair of different risky sports, which is increasing number of the injuries on themselves. So there are some main idea being presented also. According to Professor Dan Carey, if California State, many Americans yearn for the days when just staying alive was difficult task. So this is the one basic idea or the main idea. The point B is that more and more Americans are taking up high-risk sports. As a result, injuries from those sports are increasing. So these are the two main ideas being derived from the reading out one paragraph. Now both basically present same idea, however are being written in two different ways, and it so would vary from individual to individual. So taking out the main idea or talking about the main idea can be presented in a number of ways depending on the individuals who are presenting it. Now, for strengthening your reading comprehension, there are some tips and there are some techniques that you can follow. Right after that, we would have our quiz number 2 of the whole sessional series that would be related to reading skills. You would have to, read the whole passage for comprehension carefully, and in the end, you would have to answer 10 questions on your own. So, for reading for comprehension and to improve your reading, the first thing that you are supposed to do is to analyze the time and place in which you are reading. So first of all, analyze the time and place, which are really very important. Either what time you are reading. Now time also involves the set time, that can be morning, evening, or night, or time also indicates that which century you are reading in, and also the place, that's going to be your school or your university, your bedroom, your study room, or anything. And then place can also be the area, the location where you are sitting. So analyze first of all for your reading comprehension that what place you are reading for and what time you are reading for. Rephrase each paragraph into your own words. So this rephrasing is also going to help you understand the paragraphs better. So you have read the whole paragraph, try to rephrase that paragraph into your own words. That is going to help you see that how you can develop your understanding on your own of the paragraph on your own. Read aloud sentences or sections that are particularly difficult. Reading loud is also going to help you. Once you are going to listen to your own voice, you would be in a better position to comprehend that thing really better. So this is another very good idea of strengthening your reading comprehension. Reread difficult or complicated. So rereading is also going to be one basic idea once you find anything that is difficult or that is complicated. Now, you cannot, read fluently if you are just running from the lines. Fluent reading means that you are reading with comprehension. And for reading with comprehension, it is really important that you slow down yourself to comprehend each and every word and then to create the meaning of each and every word. Turn headings into questions. Now, if you are going to turn headings into questions, that is also going to help you answer the whole paragraph on your own. Then write a brief outline of the major points. So this writing down of the brief outline, making down points of something is also going to be one very good idea of improving your comprehension. Highlight keywords. Now this highlighting technique can be used for highlighting the keywords. Then write notes in the margins. Now there are margins like these areas where you can write down the small notes, the additional notes which are going to be also helpful in writing down or increasing or enhancing your comprehension. Determine whether you lack background knowledge. So if you are not understanding the paragraph accurately, it means that you sometimes lack this background knowledge. So there are some tips that I've shared with you for enhancing or for strengthening your reading comprehension. The first thing is keeping in mind the time and place, which will help you see that how successfully you can comprehend the whole reading better. Rephrase for yourself. Read the sentences aloud which you do not understand. Reread difficult or complicated sentences. Slow down your reading for the better comprehension. Turn headings into questions. Make brief outlines. Highlight different things. Write down the notes in the margins, and determine that whether you lack the background knowledge or not. Now here comes your quiz number 2 of the whole series, of the whole semester. This is going to be, the discussion and the paragraph is going to be about the big city noise, which you are going to read thoroughly, and then I would ask you some questions to be answered in the end that you would write down on the piece of paper along with your name and your roll number. So this is going to be your quiz number 2 about your enhancing your reading comprehension skill. So I hope that you are ready with your pens and your copies. Let's click on the link and let's try to find out that what you are supposed to answer. So here you go. This is the comprehension passage named Big City Noise. The directions are that you are supposed to read the story and then answer the questions below. I would read the comprehension for you and then I would ask you the questions. You can see the whole display on the screen so that the text is larger seen and it's better seen by everyone. Alright, now I would read from the passage and then you are supposed to listen to it carefully. Or maybe you can read on your own. My name is Olaf. I live in a big city. I live on a busy road. At night and during the day, cars go by, buses go by, trucks go by. People do not seem to hear the noise during the day, but at night the noise makes it hard to sleep. My road has a lot of animals too. People keep their animals outside in their yards at night. There are cats, there are dogs. The dogs make a lot of noise. To me, the dogs are like the trucks. The dogs are like the cars. The dogs are like the buses. All of them are loud. One dog barks more than the others do. His name is Simba. Simba is Mr. Cheek's dog. That is a very bad dog. He keeps me up at night, says Mr. Lucas. Mr. Lucas lives next door to Mr. Cheek. You should give him away, says Mr. Lucas. This makes Mr. Cheek very mad. You should not sleep with your windows open, says Mr. Cheek. You should not take your dog inside at night, yells Mr. Lucas. The two men argue about Simba's barking almost every day. I think it's funny. To me, Simba is as bad as the cars. He is as bad as the buses. He is as bad as the trucks. This is what living in a big city is like. There is a lot of noise. So that was about big city noise. Now here are questions for you. Your question number 1 is, in what place does Olaf live? Write down your option in the blanks. City. The second question is, what does Olaf say makes noise? A option is aeroplanes, B option is buses, C option is dogs, D option is horses. Question number 3 is, what goes by at night? A option is bikes, B option is cats, C option is dogs, and D option is trucks. Fourth question is, why may many people not hear the noise during the day? A option is because it is quiet, B option is because they are sleepy, C option is because they are busy doing other things, D option is because they do not hear well during the day. Fifth question is, what does Olaf say about his road? A option is, it is dark. B option is, it is busy. C option is, it is dirty. D option is, it is noisy. Question number 6 is, which noise makes Mr. Lucas mad? A option is, cats mewing. B option is, trucks going by. C option is, a dog barking. D option is, people talking. Question number 7 is, who argues every day? A option is Mr. Lucas and Olaf. B option is Olaf and Mr. Cheek. C option is Simba and Mr. Lucas. D option is Mr. Lucas and Mr. Cheek. Question number 8 is, what could Mr. Cheek do to help Mr. Lucas sleep? A option is get a cat. B option is not argue with him. C option is not drive his car at night. D option is take his dog inside at night. Question number 9 is, what could Mr. Lucas do to sleep better? A option is close his windows at night. B option is not argue with Mr. Cheek. C option is go to bed later. D option is talk to Olaf. 10th question is, who says Simba is a bad dog? Name that person. Question number 11 is, who does Mr. Cheek live next door to? A option is Olaf. B option is Mr. Lucas. C option is Olaf and Mr. Lucas. D option is no one. The 12th question is, what does Olaf mean when he says Simba is as bad as the buses? A option is that Simba barks at the buses. B option is that Simba and buses argue. C option is the Simba runs down the street at night. The D option is that Simba and the buses both make noise. Is it better to live in the city or in the country? Give your suggestions. Why? Now for the better understanding of the whole passage, let's try to reread it again. I would reread that again so that you help yourself answer the questions better. My name is Olaf. I live in a big city. I live on a busy road. At night and during the day, cars go by, buses go by, trucks go by. People do not seem to hear the noise during the day, but at night the noise makes it hard to sleep. My road has a lot of animals too. People keep their animals outside in their yards at night. There are cats, there are dogs. The dogs make a lot of noise. To me, the dogs are like the trucks. The dogs are like the cars. The dogs are like the buses. All of them are loud. One dog barks more than others do. His name is Simba. Simba is Mr. Cheek's dog. That is a very bad dog. He keeps me up at night, says Mr. Lucas. Mr. Lucas lives next door to Mr. Cheek. You should give him away, says Mr. Lucas. This makes Mr. Cheek very mad. You should not sleep with your windows open, says Mr. Cheek. You should take your dog inside at night, yells Mr. Lucas. The two men argue about Simba's barking almost every day. I think this is funny. To me, Simba is as bad as the cars. He is as bad as the buses. He is as bad as the trucks. That is what living in a big city is like. There is a lot of noise. I hope you have enjoyed solving your exercise number 3 and your quiz number 2. So that brings us to the end of today's lecture. Let's quickly summarize what we have done today. Today we have thoroughly discussed what exactly is reading to make you it more clear and to see that how we have helped ourselves define reading. Reading basically involves 4 things. That one we have discussed in detail: text, reader, fluency, and then strategies. We also talked about the strategic and fluent reading. That one we have also seen that how we apply different strategies to the reading passages to achieve the comprehension, and how the fluent reading, which doesn't mean that you are reading with one specific rate, it means that you are reading with fluency, you are reading on a comprehensible level. Then we also talked about some reading processes. The first one that we have talked about is bottom-up approach, which starts from your basic knowledge of basic fundamental basis of any language structure to achieve the comprehension level. The second reading approach is top down, where you apply all the background knowledge to achieve that comprehension level. And the third model and third approach is known as interactive approach, That one we have also discussed in detail. Then we also discussed there are some tips for reading or improving your reading. SQ3R technique, which starts with survey, questioning, recall, review, and then you are going to present your questions. Types of reading, in which we have discussed reading for scanning, reading for skimming. Then we have also discussed reading for the main idea. We have also discussed reading, detailed reading. And then we have done one practice session too of the big city noise. I hope today's lecture was fun for you, and I hope that right after that you are going to help yourself enjoy reading. So here is a list of references from where the material was taken. I'm sure that you are helping yourself improve your language skills one by one. In the next class we would come up with some of other reading comprehension passages, which I'm sure are going to help you improve your reading skills again. So we would see different types of readings as well, reading for skimming and scanning, and then reading for the main idea, and then detailed reading also. That one we would also practice in the next class. Till then, take very good care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.